I'm very well, thank you. Very well. I've just been to the gym, so I'm ready for the day.
Of course you have. I would expect nothing less from you, Michael.
Yeah.
I saw you recently, didn't I? Because you were playing Flesh Creep in Panto, which was Jack and the Beanstalk in Ipswich. How was that?
I loved it. It was my favourite panto. The character I played was great. I loved it. It gives you the chance in panto to really just create a character that you can get away with because it's completely different. The audiences were great. It was packed. I think they had their record box office this year, which is always good it's always good for the ego to think that you were part of that.
Oh, massively.
Really good 4 weeks in Ipswich. People were lovely. The theatre staff were great.
I used to love Mike McLean when he was on The Big Breakfast. Yeah. What was it like to work with Mike? He's such a funny guy.
Mike's great. I've known Mike a long time. We go back many years. We used to play football together. And it's funny because I've been with my partner for 5 years and she was a massive fan of Mike McLean's when she was growing up. And I told her that I was good friends with Mike. She was literally fawning over him. It was embarrassing. It's like, hello. He's such a great guy.
He is.
He's one of my closest friends. He's a lovely man. Sort of when I left Eastenders in 2002, I was a bit disillusioned by the whole business, really. I became famous very quickly overnight. And it didn't really sit with me, with my personality and the person I am. I kind of gave up acting for a bit and found poker. And I suddenly realised I was very good at playing poker. I was always playing cards with my parents as a young child around the Christmas table, and I loved taking money off them. So I just thought, why not do it professionally? And I went to the local casino, started winning a lot of money. And a company came in and started to sponsor me. And I literally travelled the world for about 6 or 7 years, from Australia to Barcelona to Macau to Estonia, all over the place.
And also, don't forget Ibiza, because we went on a holiday together.
Right. Yeah, there was a big poker tournament in Ibiza and a lot of poker players, and they hired out this private jet. I remember going to the Bellagio poker room in Vegas, and I sat down, and there was this man reading a book next to me on the table with glasses on. It was Bill Gates. And he was sat there with about $1,000, and he didn't play a hand for about an hour. And one of the big poker guys came over to him, because there's a VIP poker place where you pay for about like $1 million. Came over and said, "Oh, Mr. Gates, would you like to come and join us?" And he said, No, I'm quite comfortable here, thanks. Money, obviously, to him is nothing. He was probably earning $1 million a minute.
So what book was he reading?
Maybe he was reading How to Be in Eastenders or something like that. Who knows?
How to Be, Beppe DeMarco.
Yeah, maybe what a juxtaposition that would have been. Huh? Brilliant storyline with Tiffany and Grant.
I was
going to
say,
triangle.
You fell in love with old Tiff, didn't you?
Yeah, and I was the good man, wasn't I? Because he pushed her down the stairs, and he was a wife beater, and everybody loved Beppe because he was a single dad and he looked after her. And that was a great storyline. And it's funny because I think if Martine McCutcheon hadn't been killed off back in the day, and I think she would have definitely gone back to EastEnders because she was such a popular character, Tiffany. And that would have been probably a way in for me to go back in there if they wanted me to go back in, because at the moment, even though people say, "Oh, would you like to go back? Would you like to go back?" And it's not a case of that. It's a case because there's no real family ties.
Have you ever thought about going to a different, like Weatherfield?
It's funny, I was up for a part in Coronation Street, a regular, a couple of years ago. People do know me as being Beppe from EastEnders.
They do, yeah.
But to end up in playing a part in Coronation Street would have been weird. But I did the casting, and I thought, well, okay, we can always decide whether we want to get it or not. If we were offered it, I didn't get it anyway. I think it would be very weird for me to be in another huge soap. It would be very strange. I don't think it would sit comfortable with many people.
I guess it's a hard transition from one person that moves to one soap opera to another. Everyone knows you so well. Back in the day, you had like 20 million views per episode. You were like the most viewed hunk of our time. Like you were on loads of bedroom walls of people. Proper poster boy. Was it hard, like leading a normal life? Would you get stopped all the time?
From a young child from the age of 3 that would recognise me to an older person, 80s, in their 90s, walking down the street would pass by and go, "I know who you are." You were like family to them because everybody knew who you were. And because I was a character that people loved, I didn't really get any grief. I was the good guy.
Who was your favourite character to work with?
Oh, it's got to be Barbara Windsor. I'm a huge Carry On fan. I love the films. The first day on set, we all went for a drink at the BBC canteen afterwards, and we sat down, and she wanted to know about me, and I just wanted to know about her affair with Sid James. She told me that they had some kind of affair while they were filming Carry On Henry. I think she told me something like they got on a horse one day and just kind of galloped off set or something. It's something weird. I can't remember the logistics of it, but it was fascinating.
But do you think if they ever said, would you come back as Beppe, do you think you would say yes?
Well, This year they're having the 40th anniversary, and every man and his dog has been asked to go back, and they haven't asked me to go back. So I kind of think that ship has sailed.
You were on original Celebrity Love Island back in 2005 with an array of legendary TV stars. Would you ever do another reality TV show? We've only got 30 seconds. No.
My favourite reality TV show is I'm a Celebrity. So if I was asked to do that, I'd probably do that. But other than that, I don't watch any reality shows. I don't even watch Strictly. I know many people do. But I don't watch that.
Looking back over your career, what do you think your favourite project is that you've worked on?
I did a show, hands down. It's called Hatfield and McCoy's. Kevin Costner was the head of My Family, and Bill, the lovely, great late Bill Paxton was the head of the other clan. Tom Berenger was in it as well. We had a whole wealth of people, and I played this drunk sort of redneck guy from the South, deep South. And I loved it. It was the best character I've ever created.
You're now a daddy of 2. How does dad life compare?
I have to say, Chloe, and I really mean this from the bottom of my heart, because I think you probably know by now I'm not one to mince my words. I would give up every amount of success I've ever had in my whole life to spend another 30 years at least with my boys. I didn't realise how profound love can be. In keeping myself healthy and fit for them, it's my duty and my obligation to do that. I had them late on in life, in my 50s, and they are such beautiful, beautiful boys.
And you talk about your fitness and keeping yourself fit and healthy, and you look so well. How are you doing it?
I think it's a lot of hard work and dedication, but it's doable. I said to you earlier that I think that people see a lot of things on social media about fitness and this, that and the other, and it's always coming from someone who's in their late teens, early 20s, maybe early 30s, and you think, well, their metabolism is so quick and so strong that they can burn fat very quickly, and they've hardly lived. But an older woman who's had kids, or a man who's, his libido starting to get to him, and life is getting too much, and you think, I'm never going to lose weight. You can do. I'm approaching 56 years old. I'm probably in the best shape I've ever been in. I'm at the gym 3 or 4 times a week, but it's not like I'm pounding the treadmill every day. I'm not. The most important thing is nutrition. Joe Wicks has kind of cornered the market with that sort of thing.
Well, I don't know.
I think there is
I don't know. I think there's room for someone else, a bit older.
Yeah, heading towards 60, that can really invigorate people in their 40s, 50s, 60s and 70s. There is no point having a car that's worth 200 grand. There is no point wearing a watch that's worth 20 grand. Your health should be number one. Being a father to my children now has opened up a whole new dawn for me.
Yeah,
really.
I think it does. It kind of makes you realise your mortality, doesn't it? And you want to look after yourself to be there for your children.
I put my children to bed every night. I sort of kneel by them while they're sleeping and tuck them in and say a little prayer for them. And the first thing I say is, please give me another 30 years with my children, and that's what I want.
That's really sweet. Health is wealth, they say, don't they?
Health is wealth. It really is.